Welcome back to Raised by Giants live discussion. Good to see everyone. Welcome everyone in the chat and any moderators and channel members out there. And to anyone that's listening to the replay, thanks for joining us. And if you're listening to the audio only, welcome to the show. And if you're watching on YouTube or X, be sure to follow the audio only podcast on all podcast platforms. You can set it to where the shows are automatically downloaded upon release. I listen to a lot of podcasts on Spotify, which makes a lot of things easier for me. So follow the show on Apple Podcast, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, so you never miss a show. The Clockwork Shining is now available on Tubi. Anywhere you can download the Tubi app, you can now watch my documentary, A Clockwork Shining, on Tubi. So even if you've already seen it on Amazon Prime or Apple TV Plus, please watch it again on Tubi. It helps support us and helps support our future projects. I have the link pinned to the top of the chat, and it's also in the description. And today we have with us here to discuss everything about the truth of demons, where they come from, what and who they really are, the Nephilim, the gods, and their involvement with our world. First time on the show, exorcist, documentarian, and the host of the YouTube channel, Demon Erasers, Bryan Sadler. Welcome to the show, my friend. It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate you bringing me on here. I love that your channel's called Raised by Giants, and we're going to be talking about Nephilim stuff. So yeah, this is, it's fitting. I feel like it's fitting. So yeah.
So I've never had an exorcist on my channel before. I've always wanted to talk to an exorcist. So I think that this is a really good point to start with. How did you become an exorcist? Did this come from the Vatican? Did you have to take training? Were you ordained by the Vatican?
Yeah, no, I say exorcist in kind of a loose term because it explains what I do, but exorcist is actually a bad term. It's not good. It's actually not a good thing. It's just, that's what people easily associate with what I do. Technically, people will refer to me as like a deliverance minister, but that's also a stupid term. It just sounds like I'm delivering a baby or something. So like, I don't call myself a deliverance minister, but that's kind of what it is. Exorcist is just easier to understand. I literally I get called to pray for people that are dealing with like very heavily demonic situations. I pray for people online. People come to my website, and then I pray for people. I help people in all forms and all spaces, basically cast out demons. And a lot of these sort of demonic things that people are dealing with are mental conditions. Like, a lot of people believe that it is like, schizophrenia. They think it's a mental condition. It is not. It is 100% a demon. And this is stuff, my friend Jerry Marzinski was going to come on the show, but he couldn't be here today. But, he's a doctor of psychology who also deals with this kind of stuff, and has been able to sort of, with the scientific method, kind of prove that they are indeed real voices. There's a condition called folie à deux, folie du fa or something, I forget how to say it. That's basically when you put two schizophrenic individuals in the same room, they will begin to hallucinate the same thing. Like, they will begin to hear the same voice, see the same things. And like, that's not possible if this condition is a, make-believe hypothetical thing that's going on inside the person. So this is not things that, people like to admit or talk to. And a lot of times we give people like this drugs and shove them in the corner and say, shut your mouth, don't talk, and give them drugs to try to, attack their mind. And this is what, Jerry Marzinski is very much against, is he calls it the pharmaceutical mafia, I believe, which is literally give the person drugs, shut them up, which actually is shrinking your brain. And ironically, we call this person a shrink, that gives them the drugs, and it legitimately physically shrinks the brain of the individuals that are on these type of drugs. They're actually dyes that started way back in the day, to try to get these people to not speak, and it's fascinating because these individuals in other countries oftentimes get pulled to the side and they get trained, and they actually are like told like, oh, you have a special gift. You can hear the ancestors, and they become the shamans of the village. And so a lot of people with this ability to hear spiritual things deal with spiritual things. Like this is real. Like schizophrenia is a spiritual condition. It is not a psychosis, physical drug needed. Like it's a spiritual thing 100%. And a lot of conditions like bipolarism, spiritual condition, aggression, where you get behaviors and mood swings, like these kind of multi-personality disorder. These are all spiritual conditions, but we're trying to solve them with medication, which is not the method at all. That's actually a form of witchcraft, but that's another whole other subject, talking about witchcraft and how witchcraft is integrated into our society. In fact, the root word for witchcraft is pharmakia. Where do you think we get the word pharmacy from? Not only is it pharmakia, but pharmakoi is actually means sacrifice. So sacrifice and pharmacy is where sacrifice and witchcraft is where we get the word pharmacy. This is our root word. So it's like, it's comical almost, because these drugs are indeed killing you, and they are indeed witchcraft. They're trying to craft your desired outcome from these drugs. And so, I speak against this stuff with Jerry, and we talk about these kind of things, exposing a lot of it. We don't want people to like get giving into these things. And people that are dealing with this stuff, they need to seek other forms of healing. And Jerry Marzinski also does stuff. He prays for people as well, in a sense. He does like a therapy, and I pray for people. So I do it on my website, Demon Erasers, people that are hearing voices, people that are seeing things, people that are dealing with this kind of stuff. A lot of it is a spiritual matter that needs like healing. And this is something that people, they come to me to get delivered from. And, getting sort of started in this, you asked, how did I get started in this? This was not something that the Lord just like, you don't just go into it and be like, hey, I'm going to be an exorcist, I'm going to cast demons out. This is not how this works. Like for me, it was literally, I was living a worldly lifestyle. I was like polyamorous. I've never done a drug though, and I've never drinking a drop of alcohol. Something in me just said not to do that. I don't know why, and I just listened. But I wasn't like a Christian my whole life. It was just, I just felt something that was not right. And, I just lived my life kind of worldly, did worldly things, went to Burning Man, and I was like a part of that kind of space, but didn't really believe. I studied demonology because I saw something as a child when I was a kid in my room. This like shadow thing appeared to me. And it fascinated me. And so I studied demonology, but I studied it like it was fairy tales. I didn't study it like it was real. And then I started studying the Nephilim and Nephilimology, if a sense, if that's a word yet. Started studying this about the Nephilim and understanding what they were, because, somebody told me at church, I went to a church trying to figure out what this shadow thing in my room was when I was a kid. And they were like, it's a demon. And I was like, that's stupid. Like, this thing caused me to go to church. Like, how is this? Like, I would have never even considered going to church had I not seen this thing. So counterproductive demon. Like, I mean, kind of dumb. The shadow thing is the reason why I'm like seeking like God. I don't know. That sounds dumb. Anyways, had a lot of questions the church couldn't answer. Started studying the Book of Enoch, found the Book of Enoch. That was like a plethora of knowledge and understanding demons and demonology, which sent me on a world chase. Like, bro, I just studied demons. Like, but again, I studied them my whole life and read occultic texts like it was fairy tales. I didn't actually like think it was real. I just thought, oh, this is really interesting stuff, And I went to church, but it wasn't like I actually believed in Jesus, because I never had some kind of like major supernatural thing that was profound enough for me to like actually believe in Jesus, in a sense. So, I had an experience, and I talk about it in my documentary. I have this documentary, Ancient Angels, on, a bunch of platforms or whatever. But and I explained some of that stuff, but it was never very profound enough for me to be like, hey, what is this? And so I started looking into things more, started searching more. And then I just kind of lived my worldly lifestyle. Had one of my girlfriends that was with me at the time, she was reading some of this stuff too, the occult texts that I had, and like researching conspiracies and researching all this Nephilim history and demonology history. And she ended up getting a demon. She actually got like possessed by something that affected her personality. She thought she was bipolar. She thought she had like, and I was seeing these changes in her that I was like, this is not normal. I've known you for a long time. Like, this is not how you, like, this is, something's wrong. Something's off, And I was just like, okay. And like, I hadn't prayed to God and like, I don't even know how long, but I was like, Lord, help. That's all I prayed. And literally like the next day I heard in my head, like almost like an audible voice. And it was like, read my 10 commandments. And I was like, what the heck was that? It wasn't audible, but it was so prevalent while I was working at my desk. And I heard, take down your art. And I had a bunch of art of like girls that I would draw and stuff all over my walls. And the Lord said, take down your art. And I was like, okay, weird. And I heard, read my 10 commandments. And I'm like, what the heck was that? So I was like, I know the 10 commandments. I've got this memorized. But I go to read the 10 commandments, and the second commandment says, make no image in the form of anything in heaven above and earth beneath it and the waters below. And I was like, make no image. And then instantly this understanding just kind of came to me. I've been painting, because I was an artist, and I was painting all my girlfriends and stuff on my walls, and there was like nude art and stuff all over my walls. And I had been worshiping them. And I never thought of it like worship, like I was like worthship. It was worth something to me when I put their paintings of them on the wall. And I was like, bro, I'm violating the second commandment of the Bible. Like this, all of a sudden it like hit me. And then I heard like, take down your art. And I was like, okay. So I took down all my art. I was like, okay, this is weird. I'm like thinking, I'm just going to put this in the garage, whatever. And then I was like, that's a weird thing. Maybe I'll figure out what I'm doing with it later. I don't know. And then all of a sudden I was like, I took it all down, and then I had a collection of statues. Okay. I had a collection of Amiibo, Smash Brothers statues, all these video game characters. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'm like looking at them, and they're on the top shelf in my whole building, and I hear them too. And I'm like, the heck? And I'm like, okay. So I just like kind of scoop them off and put them in a box. And I'm just like, this is really weird. I'm like, why am I I don't know why I'm doing this. Mind you, I prayed to the Lord help, mind you, just a few days before, about my girlfriend who was having like bipolar. She was having like body spasms. She was having all this weird kind of spiritual stuff happening to her that I was like, this kind of seems weird and unusual and demonic. So I call a bunch of churches, and I'm like, hey, do you guys cast demons out? Because I don't know what this is. And they're like, no, we don't really cast demons out. Oh, you got to go to the Catholic Church. And they're like, oh, yeah, we need to evaluate if this person's like not a mental condition and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, this is stupid. I'm like, I know your Bible better than you, and I don't even go to church. It says in Mark 16:17, these signs will follow those who believe. It says, if you're a Christian, you will cast out demons. It literally says that in the Bible. So I was like, you guys are stupid. I don't even go to your church. I don't even go to church. And I know your Bible, and just because I've read demonology and I've studied demonology, this is I'm telling you, this is something unusual. There's something spiritual going on. They're like, well, we don't really know if it's a demon. We don't really believe in demons. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Hung up. And then I had this experience, right? And so I'm just kind of like in a place where I'm like trying to like check with the Lord, like what's going on? Like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm hearing this almost audible, tells me to take down my art. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I take it all down. And I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do with this? I say it out loud out of my mouth, and I hear a Bible verse spoken into my head, like Deuteronomy 32 something. I don't remember what it was. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And then I hear it again, and I'm like, okay. So I open my app, and I open the Bible app, and I click on there, and I read a Bible verse, and it literally says, none of the condemned things are to be found in your hands. And I'm like, whoa, okay, that's weird. Like, and then I'm like looking at my art that I took down, mind you, and I'm like, was going to put it in my garage because it's expensive. It's my art, a bunch of stuff I created, and then a bunch of thousands of dollars worth of video game stuff. And I'm like, maybe I'll sell it or whatever. And I'm just like looking at it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I took it down. It's sitting next to my flamethrower. I have a flamethrower, and it's sitting next to it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, do you want me to burn this? And I say it out loud, right? And I'm just like, am I supposed to burn this, Lord? And all of a sudden, Leviticus something, blah, 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 pops into my head. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I wait, and it does it again. Leviticus, da, da, da. And I'm like, okay, I open it up, bro. It says he burnt the offering. I'm like, okay, I'm officially freaked out. I'm freaked out. I'm like, okay, something is talking to me in Bible verses in my head at this moment. I'm like, this is freaking nuts. I'm like, so I call my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, remember how you were dealing with the demon stuff? We were asking, like, maybe it could be a demon. I don't know. Like, what's going on? Like, and I prayed. I'm hearing Bible verses telling me to burn my video game stuff and my art. And she's like, what? And I'm like, she's like, why your video game stuff? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I I love video game stuff. It was part of my identity. And like, I don't know, maybe the last time I heard something kind of tell me, it was like, I felt like God told me to get rid of my video game stuff when I was a kid, when I was like 15 or something. And I said no. And right then I hear a verse, Jeremiah 5:7. And I'm like, it did it again. And she's like, what? I'm like, it just did it on the phone while I'm talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, I heard a Bible verse just spoken into my head. And I'm like, she's like, well, what's it say? I'm like, I have no clue. It said Jeremiah 5:7. And she's like, well, look it up. I look it up, bro. It says, bro, the most terrifying verse I've ever said, bro. It says, why should I forgive you? Your children swore by gods that are not gods. And I'm like, I go pale in this moment because I'm just like the creator of the universe is literally speaking to me in Bible verses and just asked me why he should forgive me. I was like totally petrified in this moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, God. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I need to go. Like, I just hang up and I'm just like, I need to pray. I'm like, okay, Lord, if you are God and you are talking to me right now, and this is actually you, I want you to speak to me a very clear verse that's telling me to burn my stuff and get rid of it. And all of a sudden, Genesis sort of whatever pops into my head. I don't know what it. And then I'm like, say it again. And Genesis blah, 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 like pops in again. And I'm just like, I look it up, bro. It says he handed the burnt offering. And I'm like, there's no freaking way this is happening. Like my reality's kind of melting in this moment. And I'm just kind of like, what is going on? And I was like, God, this is plastic. This is my art and like, how am I supposed to burn this? And then all of a sudden it bumps over to the next verse and it says I'm like, am I supposed to burn this one by one? Like, I'm like, and I bump it over to the next verse and it says he handed the offering piece by piece. And I'm like, okay, all right, I guess I'm doing this. So I just grabbed my art and my video game stuff. I threw it in a trash bag, started driving. I'm like, I'm going to drive to my parents' backyard and burn this. And as I'm driving there, I hear left and I'm like, argh! And I crank the wheel left. I go a different direction. I don't know where I'm going. Out in the middle of nowhere, I'm driving in that direction. There's like a housing development out there. And I just hear there. And I'm like, okay. And I turn into the housing development. And then it's like a street and walls. And I turn. And then all of a sudden I hear there again. And I go to a dead end and stop. And there's like a sump with a gate. And the Lord's like, now get out. And I step out of the car. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm hearing a verse that's speaking to me in Bible verses, telling me to burn my video game stuff and my art. I have no clue what's happening. And so I'm just like, this is nuts. Like, okay, I open the gate, I walk in, and there's like a perfect little spot, like a homeless guy set up to burn stuff, just like sitting there. And I'm like, okay, God, I guess I will burn this stuff. So I just start burning my art and my video game collection, thousands of dollars worth of video game stuff. And I'm just like burning it, setting it on fire. And I'm waiting and I'm burning it. And I'm like waiting to hear something. I don't even know what's going to happen. Nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden I hear, put it out. And I'm like, whoa. Okay. So I grab some drywall that's like wet and I stomp it out. Okay. And then I'm like, then I hear like a specific instruction. I hear, pick up the remainder, put it in the trash bag you brought it in and throw it away. I hear that like a sentence spoken to me in my head. And I'm like, okay. So I put it in the bag and I just go and I walk out the gate. And as soon as I walk out the gate, police lights pull up behind my car. And I'm like thinking, no, officer, God told me to start this fire is not going to be the best response. So I'm just like,
you'll be thrown in a psych ward then.
Yeah, for reals. So I just open my car door and I shove it in and I shut the door and I act like nothing happened. And the cop dude walks up to me and he's like, you live around here? I'm like, no, we're in the middle of nowhere, bro. He's like, you waiting for somebody? I'm like, I don't know, kind of. Like, I don't know. And he like goes over to the gate and he looks in the gate. And as soon as he looks in the gate, it just downpours rain, which it doesn't rain where I'm at in California, like maybe 10 times a year. It just goes, whoom, and it downpours rain instantly. Like just like, boom, like out of nowhere. And I'm like standing in shock. And the rain hits the fire spot and it looks like mist coming up from the ground from the rain hitting so hard that the smoke doesn't even look like it's even was smoking. Like just, whoom. And I'm just like, okay, this is actually happening right now. I'm like thinking I'm going to get in so much trouble. Like this happens. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the dude turns around and I realize he's not a cop. He's a security guard for a company that I did work for that day. I did design work for them. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, I know your boss, Sal. He goes, oh, you know Sal? I was like, yeah, you're blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, okay, carry on. And he just gets in his car and leaves. And I'm just like standing in shock. And I'm like, okay, God is real. Like, this is real. Like, what the heck was that? I don't even know about this whole experience. I'm just like in complete shock. I just get in my car and I just drive home and I'm like, look, listen, girlfriend, like we are not sleeping together. We are not laying together. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I don't know what this was. God just called rain down from the heavens on me. Like, I don't even know what is happening. I go to bed. I'm kind of just like, okay, Lord, I don't want to make a mistake. If you're listening to me and you're talking to me right now, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Like whatever's happening, what's happening. Okay. The next day, bro, I wake up the next day and this weird old guy walks into my building and I'm like working on some design work for some other person. And he's like, hey, what's going on? I'm here to meet you. And I'm like, to meet me? Like that's a weird response. And then I'm like, okay. And I'm like, have a seat. Wait a second. And I'm like, you here for design work? No. You here for stickers? No. You here for like printing stuff? No. I'm like, what do you have a business? No. And I'm like, what the heck? And finally I set aside and I pull the guy aside. I'm like, listen, weird guy, you're kind of creeping me out, bro. Like, why are you in my building? If you don't have a business, what do you do? And the guy straight tells me, I do miracles and I teach people how to cast out demons and how to heal people. And he goes, I'm pretty sure God told me to come here today. Like the most insane line I've ever been told. I'm like, what did this guy just say to me, bro? Like, it was so crazy. I'm like, I need to talk with you because you don't even know what just happened to me yesterday. Like, apparently maybe you do. I don't know. God just told you to come here for a reason. And I'm just like blown away at this point. And so I'm just like, okay, the dude ends up praying for my girlfriend. Instantly healed. Like nothing I've ever seen. Mind you, I went to church a lot and I've heard about people getting healed. And then it's like they're healed and then they're back in church like a week later and it's like the sickness came back or whatever nonsense that is. You know what I mean? Like I've seen all this like fake stuff in church that I just was kind of like, it's bullcrap. You know, like that was my thought. Like that was like what I had in that perspective. It was just like this like fakey church nonsense. There was like, I thought it was hypnosis, half of it. I was like, they're just getting hypnotized, you know, bro. This dude prayed for her. Not only did she get instantly healed from the depression, from the mental issue, from the body spasms, she had motion sickness so bad that when we would get in the car and we would drive, she couldn't even look at her phone because it would make her sick. So we would be like, dude, I just need you to look at the maps for like 2 seconds. Gone. They didn't even pray for that. It was healed. It was gone. It was like totally gone. Like so many things instantly gone with this woman. Like just gone. Like when he prayed for her, completely healed. And I'm just like I could not even fathom how this was even possible. You know what I mean? Like that just sounds like it would sound like craziness to me. Like, but I'm just like, okay, God, this is obviously you. So I asked the dude to train me. And he was like, no, I'm not going to train you. He was like, he's like, your heart is wrong. He's like, I'm not going to train you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, God sent you here to heal her. And I prayed and all this stuff and I burned all my things. Like, what do you mean I'm not going to? God's like, no, your heart's wrong. The dude's like, I'm not going to train you. And so he didn't train me. Like, eventually he did. But like the Lord made him. But I just would tell this testimony to all these people. And like, we were just telling everybody what God had done over and over and over. And like how much healing she had gotten. And it was just like mind blowing. And eventually somebody was like, I was talking to a Freemason, actually, that I didn't know. He was like a son of a high-level Freemason, and we were talking about conspiracies and that Masons were evil and all kinds of demonic stuff involved, and like he knew a lot about the Masons. And I was like, bro, you kind of a lot to just be like, because I've researched this stuff. I've researched the occult, and I researched demonology. Like, I know more, and you know things that I don't know. It was just kind of like, how do you know this much? And he like turned his ring around, and he was like, well, because I am one. And he was like, but I don't want to be a part of it anymore. And I was like, okay. Like, and he was like, and honestly, I've got a lot of these, I can't sleep. He's like, I've got bipolar feelings. I've got this and this. And like, I was like, he's like, would you pray for me? And I'm like, I mean, I'm just telling you what happened with her. Like I wasn't the dude that cast the demon out of that girl, like out of my ex-girlfriend or whatever. I was like, I just witnessed it. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know what to do. And the dude was just like, yeah, but I think you can pray for me. Will you pray for me? And I was like, I mean, I guess. So the dude took his ring off. He's like, I don't want this ring. You can have it. I was like, I don't even want to touch it, bro. I was like, I don't even want to touch your ring. So I was like, okay. So I just set it with a stick on my table. And then I just was like, all right. So we're going to pray. I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. And I was just like, Lord God, in the name of Jesus, I bind any demonic spirit in this man right now. That's all I said, right? And then, because I didn't know what to do at first. And I was just like, he was like, not moving, no face, nothing. He just like froze. And I was like, you doing okay? No response. And I was just like, you okay, man? And he was just like, I can't move. And he's like, speaks out the side of his mouth. And I was like, and I realized I said, I bind you in the name of Jesus. And so I'm like, I realize his body is having a reaction. So I'm like, release him in the name of Jesus. And all of a sudden he's like, it's like, what did you do to me? What did you do to me? He starts freaking out. He's like, you said I bind you and I couldn't even move my body. He was like, starts panicking. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't even know. Like, so this is my introduction into deliverance. I have no clue what I'm doing. And I just start, and then I'm like, start praying. And I'm like, dude, maybe we should keep praying. And so we keep praying. The dude ends up like having a whole bodily reaction. The demon starts like, thinks his body starts, mind you, I still don't fully understand demons at this point. I mean, I know the history, I know demonology history, but I don't know their applicable nature with the world today. Bro, finally I realize it's in the ring. There's some demonic attachment to your ring. And I'm like, do you want me to smash the ring? He was like, yes, smash the ring. And so, bro, I go over with a hammer and I'm like, in the name of Jesus, I break and I bind and I break any demonic hold over this man in the name of Jesus. And I cast it into the abyss and I go whack and I hit it with a hammer. And bro, as soon as I smash it with a hammer, the dude just projectile vomits like into the trash can. Thankfully I put a trash can in front of him and just like, and like starts projectile vomiting like this white spit foam that fills up my trash can like this much, bro. And it was like a ton of weight. I don't even know how to describe it. It felt like there was a freaking football or something in the bag when we pulled it out. But it was like just, and he comes out and instantly he's like, and he like kind of almost like collapses and he's like, I feel so much better. And he's like instantly healed. Like the dude's like healed from all this like sickness. And like, he's just like feels better. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what's happening at all. I'm still just kind of like, okay, Lord, I don't know. But, the dude ends up coming back a few days later, or like, it was like maybe a week later. And I was like, listen, the Bible says if you get a demon cast out of you, it'll come back with 7 more. I'm like, do not give in to lust. Don't watch porn. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do drugs. None of it. Don't do any of these things because these are demonic doorways. I know this from like studying the occult, but I don't actually know it. And so like, I don't know how those things work. I just know that that's what they are. And I know that like witches will drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes before they channel spirits. And I know a bunch of stuff about the occult. So I'm like, this has got to be something bad. So I'm telling him like, don't do these things. Well, a week later goes by, he comes back over and he's like, and we were listening to worship music in my space. And he was, mind you, I don't know this guy. This is a friend's friend. So that was the first time I met him, cast the demon out of him. First time I cast the demon out. I don't even know what I'm doing. Dude comes back and he's just like, hey, he's like, oh, I love this song. He's like, praise Jesus. Jesus is so great. And I'm like, it's a weird response in this dude. I'm like thinking, now we're telling people that I cast a demon out of somebody. And like, people are just like, yeah. And so this is the second time I met this guy. And I'm just like, I have no clue what's going on. He's like, yeah, oh, hallelujah. I love Jesus so much. And I'm like, bro, I was like, are you okay, man? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And I'm just like, something's not right with this dude. Like something's a little bit weird. We're like listening to worship music and you're like talking all kind of crazy, like, right? And then all of a sudden he can't look at me and his head starts going like this, like, oh my God. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I'm like, bro, like, he's like, Bryan, he's like, I want to tell you, you're going to do so many things in the name of Jesus. And he's like, I'm going to pray over you. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, please don't touch me. I'm like thinking in my head, but I don't want to say nothing. So he reaches out to touch me, bro. And he goes like this. And before his hand gets close to my head, something goes boom and picks this guy up off the ground, probably like 2 feet, dude, like lifts him up and throws him back in my building. And I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm like, what just happened? he was like, and he comes to and he's like, where am I? He's like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know, man. You were going to pray for me. And it was kind of weird. But normally the people that pray for people, like the other person falls over, but you just got picked up and thrown back. I don't even know what happened, dude. I don't even know. And so like he gets like thrown back and I'm just like kind of in shock. I don't know what this is still, right? I've seen people do the thing where they go and they pray for people and people fall over. I've seen that. You know what I'm talking about? Like at churches where but it was the opposite. He's like, I'm going to pray for you. And he goes and boom, and he goes flying back. So I'm just like, whoa, this is great. By the way, should I take a breath? I don't know if you have any questions. You want me to keep going? Should I just keep going?
Well, the thing that I'm thinking is like, you know, it seems like the black magic requires like a sacrifice, right? But it's not like a sacrifice that you willingly give. It's like the darkness takes something from you unwillingly. And it seems like that the light side or God or whatever wants you to give up a sacrifice willingly.
That is actually, yeah. That's totally.
That's what it seems like to me, right? So they're both technically sacrifices, but one is willingly and the other one just takes.
That's a good point. I mean, I think it's I think there's a lot more to it. Is like, God. I mean, when you give it up willingly, it's like part of your identity. It says we die with Christ, right? So in a sense, like I died to my identity when I burned my video game and my art. That was my identity. I was the video game artist guy. And so like when I burned it, it was like, that was it. I was done. Like that, who I was able to be remade into the image of Christ in that moment. It was just like, okay, I'm not that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I gave that up. That was it. And so that was like a big sort of thing in my understanding of all that.
Then too, but it's kind of a little bit of a contradiction, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well.
Sure.
Because if God also requires some sort of sacrifice in order for, you to be like, be saved or whatever, was that not what the purpose of Jesus, his only son, was here to do? Did Jesus not die for all of us? Was Jesus not the ultimate sacrifice? So doesn't it seem like that we wouldn't need to sacrifice anything?
You know what? You're right, absolutely. But I think the difference is the goal isn't to get to heaven when we die. And I think like Jesus's death was partially in that sort of redeeming factor, was like us dying, like it says that we have died with Christ. Like we're supposed to die with Christ. We're supposed to be raised with Christ. We're supposed to walk like Jesus. Jesus is supposed to be our example. But the thing is, we don't do that. Like most Christians today are like, I accept Jesus into my heart. Well, good for you. Congratulations. Accept Jesus. When you die, maybe you go to heaven. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not walking like Jesus, if you're not operating in the authority that Jesus operates in, you're not going to see miracles. You're not going to heal anybody. Good luck, Christians, healing people. Good luck. Like, good luck seeing miracles. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, good luck with whatever, if you want the anointing of God, like it is a sacrifice. You do give stuff up. Like that is part of like, the truth. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a, it's a deep understanding that a lot of Christians miss. Like they think that the whole goal of being a Christian is to die and go to heaven. It's like, bro, that's not the point of being, like, bro, you're missing it. Like Jesus died for our authority in Christ. So we're supposed to walk in righteousness, but Christians don't walk in righteousness. They keep on sinning and they continue to do sin. But it says in the word, be perfect as I am perfect. We're called to be perfect, and we're not called. And it says the 10 Commandments, it says still, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. But when I had my art on my walls, I was loving my girlfriends more than God. I was worshiping them. I was putting them on my wall. Like, I wasn't a Christian. I may have been a Christian, in that sense, but I wasn't actually a follower of Christ. In fact, the Bible says these signs will follow those who believe. So real Christians, there's signs, it says in the Bible, that will follow you. In Mark 16:17, it says there is things that they will do that will, because they say, how, Lord, how are we going to know who's a Christian or not? And Jesus said, these signs will follow those who believe. They will rise the dead. They will pray. They will lay their hands on the sick. They will get healed. They will cast out demons. These are the descriptions of like what it says to be a follower of Christ. So, when you're a follower of Christ, like there is an anointing, there's an authority that goes with you. And here's the thing, like you can, like right now, like you can be a Christian and watch porn. Good for you. Maybe you die, maybe you go to heaven. I don't know. That's between you and the Lord. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you watch porn and you're trying to be a Christian, you want to go cast a demon out, they're gonna laugh in your face. They ain't gonna listen to you. They ain't gonna respect you. They have you have no spiritual authority. You are spiritually dead. This is what it means to be born again, bro. Spiritually born again. That's what he's talking about. But if you are living in sin and doing these things, you're spiritually dead, bro. You have no authority. Go try to cast the demon out, little Christian that watches porn. Go see what happens. Why? And I'll tell you the rest of the story. Actually, this is even funnier because when you understand the rest of the story, this dude that came back to me, I had this exact issue actually. The demon possessed guy, I told him don't watch any porn. His head he like gets knocked over. His head starts doing the snapping thing. He can't look at me. Finally, I go to the other side of him and his head starts snapping the other way. And I realize this dude can't look me in the face. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is real. And this is the first time I spoke to a demon. First time I talked to a demon directly. Like he spoke out of the dude's mouth. Second time I've ever attempted to cast the demon out. Okay. But it was the same demon apparently because it remembered me. And so then all of a sudden his head starts snapping. And I was like, hey bro, did you watch porn? Remember I told you like the demon leaves a man, it comes back 7 other. I'm like, did you watch porn? He was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you think, a little bit. And I was like, did you drink alcohol? He was like, yes, I drank a little bit like the other day. And then I was like, remember how I told you like, don't do those things. Cause we just got demons out of you and maybe they might come back. And he was like, you think I got a demon that came back to me? And I was like, I don't really know, but I mean, this behavior you're doing is kind of weird. And all of a sudden, bro, his head just snaps straight at me, looks me dead in the eye. And his voice changes, bro. His entire face expression, everything about this guy changes. And he goes, oh, I have come back. And he's like, and I am so much more powerful than you. And I was like, oh, it just went to like 1 to 1,000. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And the thing was like, he's like, you're the one that kicked me out. And he starts accusing me. And the demon starts speaking through this dude's mouth. Like, and my friends are there watching when this is all happening. So we're all witnessing this. Like, and I'm just like, okay. And he was like, he's like, you're the one that broke my ring. You broke it right over there. And he was like, that was my ownership to his soul. And I'm like, oh shoot. I was like, okay, demon. I was like, all right, well, I was like, I'm going to tell you to leave again. And he was just like, no, you can't cast me out. He's like, you're weak. He's like, you're full of lust. And I was like, me? I'm like, I haven't done a single thing. I'm like, name it. When have I watched porn last? Name it. And the demon was like, oh, you haven't in a while. He goes, but you still want it. He goes, I can see it in your heart. The demon says this about me, which is very true, mind you. At that time, I was leaving polyamory because I like cut off my relationship with the other girlfriend or whatever. Cause I was like, bro, I can't be polyamorous. I need to be righteous after this whole event happened. And I've been like, I didn't look at porn. I haven't given it a lust, no masturbation. I'm just like trying to walk as righteous as possible. And and like the demon, but in my head, I was struggling with the idea of being like, well, David had 2 girlfriends. Maybe I could have 2 wives. Like, whatever. Like, like there was like the thought in my head that I was struggling with. And the demon freaking knew it. This guy didn't know me. This guy did not know me. He goes, you're full of lust. He goes, I've only met him once and I prayed for him. And he goes, and you're full of polyamory. And he smiled and looked at me. Mind you, not everybody knew that I had 2 girlfriends. Like everybody suspected it, but this guy didn't even know me. And he smiles and says polyamory to me, bro. And my heart just sinks because I'm like, okay, this thing sees my heart. Like it actually knows what's in my heart. Like what the heck, bro? Like I was so freaked out. I called one of my friends. I was like, hey, remember how we cast demons out of that guy the other day? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I was like, my Christian friend, I was like, well, the thing came back and the demon's talking and it's called me out on stuff in my life. And I'm kind of freaked out right now. And I was like, he's like, put me on the phone. I'm going to cast him out. I was like, okay. So I put it on the phone and I'm like, here you go. And my friend's like, in the name of Jesus, you're going to listen to me, demon. And the guy just starts laughing at my friend on the phone. He goes, you? He goes, you're going to get, he's like, oh, go on and try. And he's like laughing. And he's like, yeah, cast me out. Go on. And my friend's like, in the name of Jesus, you come out of this man, blah, blah, blah. He starts screaming on the phone and the demon starts laughing at the guy on the phone. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, you want to know why it doesn't work? He goes, you masturbated 2 hours ago. The demon straight says this, calls my friend out on the phone, bro. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, we're going to call you back, bro. Like, hang up the phone. And I'm just like, all right, demon knows stuff. Demon knows everything about everyone in the room. Okay, the demon freaking knows stuff, which, by the way, the word demon comes from daemon. It means the ones that know. It's root Greek. Okay, so demons know things, mind you. They know a lot. Okay, so the demon freaking says this, calls him out. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to do next. I'm like, I don't even know. And so we heard about another person, this woman that casts out demons that's able to. So we call the woman and we're like, hey, and it's like 12 o'clock at night. And mind you, I'm arguing with this demon in him and I'm trying to get him to leave. And the demon's like, I'm not leaving this vessel. I own this vessel. He's like, this is mine. And the demon's like telling me things, like it's talking to me and telling me crazy stuff, but it's like lining up with the Bible and it's just crazy things this demon's saying. And I called him a Nephilim at one. I was like, dude, I feel bad for you, demon. It's not like you chose to be here. You're probably some dead little Nephilim. And he was like, I'm not a Nephilim. He's like, that's disgusting. They're below him. It was like he was like think the Nephilim were beneath him. And he's like, no, like, and so they have this attitude. This demon was speaking through this guy. We can't get the demon out. Okay, I can't get the demon out. I call this woman, put her on the phone. And the demon and the dude starts panicking when she starts speaking. She's like, listen up, demon. She's like, you're going to do what I say. And he's like, no, not her. No. And he starts panicking from this woman on a phone. And I'm like, what the heck? Why did he laugh at my friend? But we get this woman on the phone and he's just like, he's like freaked out from her. And she tries to cast it out. She's like, listen, it's 12 o'clock at night. I can't do this. Bring him to me tomorrow. We'll handle the situation. I'm just like, okay. Sure. And I'm like, what do I do until then? She's like, I don't know, just pray and maybe the Lord will help you. And I'm like, okay, bye. So mind you, there's this demon that knows things about us that's talking through this dude. And there's like 3 of us and we're all like, we don't know how to handle this situation. We had to drive this demon possessed dude home to like drop him off. Okay. And the demon is like switching and all of a sudden we get in the car to take him home and he's like switching back to the dude and then switching back to the demon talking. And it's like going back and forth. And it's like intense, bro. It is so intense. And like the demon, like we get in the car and we sit down in the car finally. And all of a sudden he comes to and he's like, hey, he's like, where are we at? And I was like, oh, we're here at my place. You know, we're going to take you back home. And he's like, well, Bryan, he's like, when'd you get here? And I was like, well, we've been here for like the last like 4 hours, bro. Like, and he's like, no, I haven't. He's like, I just got here. He's like, I left my house and then I got in the car and then wait, how did I get here? We're just like, bro, didn't even remember. He didn't even remember what was happening. And like, it was the most intense experience. And so eventually we get the demon out of the guy. I bring him to the lady. She ends up training me. The guy that denied me, God begrudgingly tells him, you have to train him. So he trains me. And so I have 2 people that have taught me the understanding things of the spirit and casting out demons, that now this is what I do. I pray for people, cast demons out. It is very real. And it's like, it's more exciting than anything, honestly. Like people think Christians' life is boring. Like I don't get Christians that are like, I go to church and I don't sin and I don't do anything wrong. Like, bro, I would be so bored if I didn't know that I had to go cast a demon out in like an hour or something. Like it would just be like, I don't even get how people do that, honestly. Like if you don't walk in the authority of Christ, like, dude, this is exciting. This is crazy. This is exciting. And so like when you come to that understanding of sacrifice, like Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice, but it says that we died with Christ. So we have to die with Christ to be raised with him. If you want to walk in the authority of Christ, maybe you die and go to heaven, just being a normal person. I don't know. Let's with the Lord, maybe ask him. I don't know. But if you want to walk like Jesus walked, If you want to be a Christian, which means a little Christ, which means like Jesus, means a Christ follower, that means you do away with sin. That means you do away with these things. That means you don't do them. Like Jesus is the only one that lived a perfect life from beginning to end, but it doesn't mean that we can't stop sinning living from now forward. And it's not, sin isn't the thing that you have to follow some law in the Bible. Like so many people are like, oh, but the Bible's got all these things that we have to do to not sin. No, bro. Jesus said, I will write my commandments upon their heart and I will put them in their minds. You know what is right and wrong. It's already in you, bro. It's already in your mind. It's already in your heart. You know when you tell a lie that you're not supposed to. You know when you do a thing that you're not supposed to. You already know that you're not. You already know you're not supposed to do that stuff. And so when you go against it, what you're doing, that is sin. There's no book that you got to follow. Jesus said, I came not to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. It means it's fulfilled. It means it's done. You're not held to some law. You're not held to some standard. Like Jesus came to teach us love. And that's why he says, love these two commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, love your neighbor as yourself. All the other commandments fall under this. Okay. You're not held to some like, oh, I got to cut my hair a certain way. Oh, I got to make sure I observe the Sabbath. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like all that's nonsense, bro. Like the reality is Jesus came to do away with religion. He came to tell you that God is in all of us and he's in your heart and you're supposed to love people. That's the commandment. That's what he came and he brought. And when you walk in love and you walk in truth and you walk in light and you don't do the things you know you're not supposed to do, those little white lies, those little things in the back of your head, like, oh, I ripped that guy off. I know I shouldn't have done it. Oh, I did this thing and I knew I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I took advantage of my wife when I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I did, like that. Oh, I made her do this. Oh, I made him do that. Like, bro, all of that stuff, when you stop doing those things, there's an authority that comes with it. It's called the authority of Christ. This is what it means to be a Christian. This is what it actually means. So all those people that are like judging you, that are like Christians, like, oh, you sleeping with your boyfriend, you're sleeping, and they're like just judging all the time. Like, bro, you don't even get it. You're not even a Christian fully. You're a Bible follower. You're a churchianity is what they believe in. They don't understand what it means to love with Christ's love. Christ came to love people and to give us understanding and freedom in the sense. Like we are held to the sin for me is different what sin is for you. And God will walk us in that way of righteousness and he'll show us the way of righteousness and we progress into it. But like there is a sacrifice. You give up your life, bro. Like this is not like I'm no longer the dude. I'm no longer the polyamorous dude that plays video games and does art. That's not me anymore. That's dead. That's gone. That's not me. I am a follower of Christ. I am the image of Christ now. Like I do what I do what the Lord tells me. I still live my life. I still do all those other things, but bro, let me tell you what, I would much rather be doing what I'm doing now than being, the top of the world how I was before doing all the other stuff. Like, bro, I like sword fought with Logan Paul. I had a whole life before this that I did all kinds of crazy stuff. I was semi-popular, not like I am now, but the Lord's remade me. I deleted my social media accounts and all my connections. I deleted everything because when God called me, he was like, get rid of your identity. No more you. He was like, I'm going to remake you. He's like, can I not make you more famous than anything you've ever done? I was like, well, I guess so. So I just deleted all my stuff, bro. Deleted my accounts, deleted everything. I was like, God, I could preach to these people though. And he was like, no, delete it. Delete it all. So I deleted it. I destroyed who I was. My identity, gone. And like, that's who I am now, is like Christ remade in the image of Christ. That's what it means to be made in the image of Christ. That's what it means to be a Christian. Okay. It's not about just dying and going to heaven one day. It's about walking in the authority that we're called to. It's about loving people. It's not about condemning people and like, you're living in sin, brother. You don't even know what you're doing and blah, 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 whatever, dude. Like sin is different for you than it is for me. Because if you haven't been convicted of it, it hasn't been put on your heart. You don't know. God's not going to judge you accordingly to that. He's going to hold that judgment because, oh, you didn't read the Bible enough. I guess you're going to go to hell because you don't understand. No, bro. God loves us all. It's about love. It's about it's about connection. It's about intimacy. And it's about listening to your heart, bro. You got to do what your heart tells you. Christians will be like, they say the stupid thing. Being a good person doesn't get you into heaven. Being a good person. Oh, man. Like, bro, you know what? Being a bad person is going to definitely keep you out. I'll tell you that much. Being a bad person is.
I don't need to go to church. I don't need to read the Bible to be a good person, right? You don't need to do any of those things to be a good person. That's the whole Really the whole thing, and really what the teachings of Jesus really is talking about. And I wish more people that are self-proclaimed Christians would take those teachings and actually live out those teachings. But unfortunately, a lot of them aren't. They're just like condemners. Now, have you ever cast out a demon from somebody that is not a Christian or doesn't believe in God or is associated with a different religion?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's the demons, they respond differently to the authority of Jesus. So when somebody's not a Christian, you can cast a demon out of them and they'll get healed instantly. They'll throw up, some weird response will happen probably, but then they will come into the understanding of Christ. But here's the thing, they have to be willing to allow it to be set free. And they have to be willing and open and to the understanding that maybe I'll come into they understand Christ. I mean, like, bro, I've had a dude that was not a Christian. I was like, bro, you got a heart condition. And I was like, that's not a heart condition. That's a demon. I was like, and I can tell you. And I started talking to him and the conviction started setting in. He started understanding what it meant to be an actual Christian, to love people. And like, he was like, well, yeah, like, I guess pray for me. Sure. Prayed for him. Boom. Instantly the heart thing left and it's still gone to this day. Like I check it. I was like, how's your heart, dude? He's like, bro, instantly healed. He went to the doctor after like a week after that. And they were like, the heart thing is gone. They were going to have to do surgery on him. All this stuff gone instantly. And then now because of that, the guy's like, yeah, Jesus healed me. Like, he's just like, Jesus healed me. Like, I don't know how to describe that any better than Jesus healed me. So like for him, his faith now is in Jesus because of his healing. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's, you know, they believe because they when that was part of the reason why God gave us the authority and the miracles and the stuff that we do, like to demonstrate the authority of Christ for those that don't understand, for those that don't know, for those that can't fully grasp it or can't fully believe. Like, God does this all the time, but you got to be a willing vessel. Like you got to be like willing to be like, okay, well, maybe I don't have the answers. And then God will show up and boom, he'll show himself. I prayed for a dude on the streets that was like, he came up to me and was like, hey, he's like, you got some money for weed? And I was like, no, dude, I don't got any money for weed, but how about I pray for you? And that spirit that's causing you to want weed will leave you. And he's like, what? And he like, couldn't even understand what I said to him. I was like, I will pray for you. And that spirit causing wanting you to want weed will leave you and you won't want it anymore. And he's like, man, prayer doesn't work. He's like, that's stupid. I was like, well, you haven't had me pray for you. And I was like, why don't you try it? And he's like, well, fine, pray for me then. And I was like, no, that's not how you ask. Like, if you want to see the Lord do something, like you got to ask with a contrite. You have to be in a place of the right heart. You have to be in a place where you're like, okay, Lord, maybe you're going to help me. I'll believe. So I talked to him a little bit. And then at the end, I was like, he's like, well, yeah, maybe you can pray for me. That'd be great. And I was like, all right, that's a good way to ask. And I was like, Lord, touch this man. And then like, bro, I didn't even touch the guy. I didn't even touch the dude. He's just like sitting there and he was on his bike and he was just like sitting. And all of a sudden he's like, what is happening to me? He's like, whoa. He's like, oh, I feel like I'm being hugged. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? And he's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, bro, that's the Holy Spirit touching you right now, bro. He was just like tripping out. And then he's like, and then I was like, now spirit of addiction out. And he's like, what? He's like, what the heck? And I was like, spirit of alcohol out. And he's like, ugh. He's like, I'm sober. He's like, what the heck? Instantly, the dude got sober. Instantly. Me and my friend were just like sitting there praying for this guy, like on the street. He was like, what did you just do to me? And I was like, oh, I told the spirit to leave you. he was like, I'm completely sober. He's like, I was like drunk. How'd you even know that I was drunk? And I was like, I don't know. I just told it to leave, bro. Like, he was like, oh my gosh. He's like, I need to go home and think about this. Like, he was like literally so tripped out that like he ended up going home. And I was like, you're going to read the Bible. He's like, well, what if I forget? And I was like, you're not going to forget. You're going to read the Bible every day. And next time I see you, like, you're going to have the Bible in your hand. And I was like, I just like started speaking over him like life. And bro, dude went home. I haven't run into him yet, but I know I'm going to see him again eventually. Have some crazy story of how that went down. But yeah, bro, instantly the demon left him.
Mind tricks on him, bro. You're using them Jedi mind tricks on him, dog.
Dude, maybe it's Jedi mind tricks. I don't even know.
You do not want death sticks.
Yeah, you don't want
to go home and rethink your life. I want to go home and rethink my life.
Yeah, bro. It's real though. It's real, but you understand it. And like bro, they're like, okay, all right. And so, like, dude, I just prayed and I just rebuke it and the demons leave. There's some people that I prayed for and the demons, like, people come up to me and they'll be like, I had one person that was like, I've got a demon. Oh, you think I got a demon in me? I was like, yeah, you definitely do. So he was like, he's like, oh, well, then cast it out then. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Like, it's not, that's not how that works. I'm not going to go cast the demon out of you against your will. Like, if the demon is interfering with the will of God, I have authority over it. So, like, if I'm trying to pray for somebody else and a demon possessed homeless man comes up and tries to interfere, which happens all the time, it's kind of funny. Like, and they'll like try to do, I can tell the demon and the homeless man, turn around and walk away now, or I'll cast you out. And the demon possessed man will just turn away and just be like, walk away. He'll just be like, okay, like that was pretty weird. Like, and so like a lot of homeless people have demons. Like a lot of homeless people have demons. Like it is very, very prevalent. Demons don't like to wash. They don't like water. They don't like to get dirty. There's something in the water that washes them out that can carry them away. They don't like cleanliness, so there's a lot of stuff. When you understand the authority of casting out demons, these are things you learn as you progress in this. These are things that you like will start to learn, doing it so much. But like, yeah, you can cast out demons from any other religious person as well. And people will get like, they'll have the revelation of Christ because they'll have a dream that night and realize Jesus came to them. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, that was Jesus. Like that was real. But as long as their heart is in a place to receive, they understand that it's Jesus who heals them. Their opinion will shift. Like, bro, I've had tons of people that afterwards they prayed for him, demon left them, and they're like, yeah, okay, I believe in Jesus now. It's just like, okay, that was real. You know what I mean? But you got to be in that space to willingness to understand.
Were you a happy person whenever you were doing your art and, being polyamorous? Like, were you happy with that? Or were you more down and like depressed and thinking that there's more to this reality than what's going on? Because that seems to be the issue and the problem with like a lot of people is that they are searching for something that they can, figure out in their life. Like they're missing I guess you could call it a part of their soul or like something that makes them want to get up something in the morning, something that makes them excited, something that they want to live their life for. Okay? And a lot of people, even the people that I meet on the street, they seem like that they're missing that in their life. Right. So therefore they are depressed. Therefore they have anxiety. Therefore they stay home and they scroll on Facebook and Instagram for hours upon hours. They get on TikTok and then they scroll. They get bored. Then they watch porn. Then they masturbate. They get bored because they're lacking that fulfillment in their life. They're doing something that they know that there's something more that they should be doing, but they don't know how to achieve that thing that is more, and they don't even know how to get to that point to where they feel like they're being fulfilled in their life, right? So then they fill that void with all these external things, like all these worldly things, like drugs, like alcohol, like partying every weekend. I mean, most people that work a 9-to-5 job throughout the week, they live for the weekend. They want the weekend to come so then they can party, so then they can drink. And then they do the exact same thing, and they have those few days of happiness. That weekend, that Saturday and that Sunday, or that Friday evening, that Friday night, is the two most happiest days of their week, and then it's right back to the grind, right? And then they're like right back to that slump again. It's a quick fix, Band-Aid type of scenario that they're trying to put on it with the drugs, with the alcohol. To get them to that state that they could actually be in reality by doing something that is fulfilling to them. But instead, it's at a job that they don't like, a job that they don't want. And then that creates and fuels a lot of conspiracy theories and a lot of things that may or may not actually be going on, because then they're like, oh, well, it's all of these other external factors is the reason why I'm not feeling fulfilled in my life. It's the oppressive government. It's these people who don't want me to succeed. It's my friends, it's my family, it's my dad, it's my mom, and then they put all these other external factors upon it for the reason that they're not feeling fulfilled.
You know, you're absolutely right. That is a lot of the situation that you see, unfortunately, in a lot of people and a lot of Christians that come to Christ go through that down spike. And they're like, "Oh, and then I tried drugs, and then I tried, and then I found Jesus." You know, I describe this as like, let's say this is their tank. This is your tank of gas, right? And you can be like here or you can be here. A lot of those people are here. They're so below E on their gas tank that when they come to Christ, it's like, oh, like my car can run with gas, but they stay on E. They don't ever know what it's like to be full. They have no clue what it's like to be full. And so like a lot of Christians have that understanding of like, oh, well, Jesus saved me from all the sadness, but they never get to a full tank. Satan keeps them at that E level. So they don't have no clue what it's like to cast the demon out. Talk to them. They don't know what it's like. They may say that they had a demon that left them, but they don't do it to anybody else because they don't live in the authority of Christ that you're supposed to walk in. You know, Jesus says cowards don't enter into the kingdom of heaven. Did you know that? It says it right alongside with all the other people. Cowards. Right alongside with idolaters, fornicators, witchcraft. It says cowards do not go to heaven. That should shock a lot of people, bro. Because why? Why don't the cowards go to heaven? Because they're not doing what God has called them to do. So some people, they get healed and all of a sudden they're below E and they're on drugs and whatever. And they get healed and they're like, oh, I got gas in my gas tank. Oh, but that's it. Like Jesus saved me. And they stay running their car on E constantly because they don't tell their testimony. They don't tell what people happen. They don't go up to people. They don't try to seek the spiritual things of the Lord that is active and real and living. They just kind of like stick with, oh, the Bible says this. Bro, the Bible is milk. It says it over and over that this is baby food. There's so much more beyond that. And so like, but people don't understand these things because these spiritual matters, you got to learn them by experiencing the supernatural realm of the reality that we live in. And so like my story, dude, I am not one of those Christians that was like, you know, my word was terrible. And then I found Jesus and everything's great. Like, congratulations to those that have done that. Awesome. That's great. That's not my story, bro. I was polyamorous. I had 2 girlfriends, 3 questionably. Like, bro, I lived like a freaking king. Like I had whatever. I've survived. I built a business that was successful. Bro, I have given all of that up to be who I am now. Bro, my life is now more, like way more. There's way more suffering that I've gone through now than what I was. Like, bro, I was like, dude, what guy, let me ask you this. What guy that has 2 girlfriends is going to be like, you know what? I think I should end this relationship with my 2 girlfriends. Like, what guy would do that? Bro, I literally, for 7 years, I had 2-3 girlfriends sleeping in my bed every night. Like, every night. Like, this is my lifestyle. What guy is going to be man enough or strong enough to be like, you know what? I think I need to give this up. The thing is, what I experienced was so real. There's no denying what I saw. What I saw in my ex-girlfriend there, bro, there was no freaking denying what miracle I witnessed. I chased after the Lord because of the truth. I chased after the Lord because of what I saw was undeniable. It was undeniable. So I wasn't one of those Christians that are like, you know, oh, I never done a drug, bro. I never drank a drop of alcohol. Never smoked a cigarette. Never once. Never even done it. Never touched it. My life was fine. I gave up my life of like pornea and sex and lust and perversion. I gave it up to follow Christ on purpose because I couldn't go to sleep knowing that like what I witnessed was so real and the power of God was so real. So I chase after having a full tank of gas. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't chase after this, you know, empty here and then, oh, now I've got water. No, bro, I'm over here. I'm like one of those crazy Christians. I'm like one of those crazy ones that like love people and do radical things and like help people and heal people. Bro, I'm like one of those Christians that people are just like, bro, he's like Jesus, bro. Like, yeah, that's what I try to be. You know, I try to love people. I deny myself. It's so much harder denying myself what it was, like cutting that off from me, like giving up, like having orgies and stuff, like giving that up for no reason. Bro, this is reality, bro. This is truth. This is the reason why I do that, what I do, dude. Like I follow Christ.
Are you happier now than you were before?
I guess I could say I'm happier, sure. I mean, like, but it wasn't like now I have like true peace in my heart, I guess. But like I was just as happy over there. It became like conflicting because I want to live true to my heart, you know? And I was like, after I witnessed this, I was like, oh, bro, that I guess witnessing the person get healed and seeing this transformation and seeing demons, something in my heart could not let me continue to live the lifestyle I was in. It was just like, I can't do this. Like, I can't continue to live like this because I know what the truth is now. Like, bro, this is freaking nuts. Like, this is so real. There's no way that I can continue on in this lifestyle. There's no way. So I gave it all up because I see, and yeah, I'm absolutely happy now. But like, I definitely have gone through more trials. I've definitely gone through more struggles now than I've ever had, which is fine though. Like, I'm totally at peace though. Before, like, if I had gone through the struggles that I was on, you know, before, it might have been like more overwhelming to me, but now it's just like, whatever. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. It's fine. Like, it's like nothing bothers me at all now at this point. Like, I'm just like totally fine with it. And like, I just love the Lord and just seek God and like seek truth. I mean, like, the thing is, once I discovered that demonic stuff was real, it was like figuring out a puzzle piece. So it still was part of my world because, mind you, I studied the occult. I was a demonologist of sorts, you know, like I studied witchcraft. I studied the occult. I studied astral projection. I studied these. I didn't really do them, but I knew everything about them. Like, I just knew I knew how it functioned. I knew what it was. I tried to astral project a little bit, but like, that was about the most I've ever done. Like, and I knew witches, and I knew a bunch of people that were in the occult. Like, I just knew a bunch of people that were, I know, high priestess of the Church of Satan, was friends of a friend. And like, bro, I knew a bunch of people, had a bunch of connections, knew about the occult stuff, but I was kind of like, it's kind of fake. It's kind of hypnosis. It's kind of, I don't know. But bro, when I stepped into this reality, it was like the Lord took all this like historical knowledge of demonology. And I was like, well, how is that applied to today's world? And God just was like, oh yeah, you remember all this stuff that you learned about spell casting and how that works? Well, here's how it is in the media today. Boom. And it was like, God just like puzzle pieced everything that I knew from my occult knowledge started getting put together in such a beautiful way, because he started teaching me and showing me like what the witchcraft world is today. And nobody has a single clue how witchcraft is in the world today. Nobody has any clue what actual witchcraft is. Bro, there's so many people that paint their fingernails black and they're like, I'm a witch. No, you're not. You're a fool. You're a fool. You're ignorant. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, bro, I'll tell you what real witchcraft is. I've met real witches. I've spoken to demons. I know what they are. I know people that have left the occult, the high level individuals that have escaped the occult. I know what this is now. Like, and so like the Lord taught me. It was like he knew that I would come to this understanding eventually. So it was like he was like training me, even though I was like studying all this wicked, evil stuff, like to know it. It was like it became knowledge in my gun holster for how to fight against it. Now what I do. So I don't know. That's kind of.
So what is witchcraft?
Oh man, that's a really interesting subject. I will tell you on a level, it is a form of crafting or manipulating things to the desire of your will. That's why it's called craft, or the craft. You know, Freemasonry call it the craft. That's what they call Freemasonry. I don't know if you know that. You know, they call it the craft. It's bending something to your will. Okay. And witchcraft is the same thing as hypnosis. Hypnosis involves demonic control as well. That's what MK Ultra was about. They was literally using demons to control the minds of individuals, implanting demons through trauma-based mind control. Demons need trauma to enter. They need sacrifice or blood or some kind of point of trauma to get access to the person. So the occult will use like trauma, like rape or molestation, these kind of things, to create a void space in the mind to allow the demon to enter, okay? To allow the demon to get access into the person's mind. And then once the demon's in there, the demon can control the person at a certain point. There's ways to get full control, and demons basically engineer these ways to control the individual. But it all stems from trauma. Like, I'll tell you right now, hypnosis, like anybody can be hypnotized. Anybody. It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, talented, whatever. Anybody can be hypnotized. You want to know the definitive concluding definitive line of hypnosis? It's called trauma. If you've been molested as a child and you don't even remember it, you'll be a good hypnosis subject. If you've been abused as a child and you hated it and there's a part of your mind that shut off, guess what? You will be susceptible to hypnosis. If you've never had trauma, or if you're healed from your trauma, you won't get hypnotized. You ever tried to be hypnotized before, bro?
Nope, was never interested.
That's good. But like it might not affect you if you have you seem like a very logical person. So it seems like you're very much into your mind space. You've probably not done a whole lot of things that have taken you out of your mind. But if there's things that have been done to you that have forced you through trauma, you would be hypnotizable. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, but you may not know that you're even hypnotizable. Or you may be like, I can't get hypnotized. I tried to get hypnotized. I was too much in my body and I was too healed for me to be able to leave that space. Like, you seem kind of logic, so it'd be hard probably for you to even endure it. But there's other people that are, they've gone through trauma. Like, like all the people around you, everyone around you in our society, bro, they're all walking hypnotized. They're all under hypnosis. Like, the majority of people.
Definitely seems that way, bro. Definitely seems that way. People call them NPCs, dude.
Yes, those are hypnosis subjects.
Walking into the grocery store, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is just like in their own like little world, dude. Like, I don't think
bro,
what's going on. I've talked about it several times on the show. I'm walking into the grocery store, people are like always like cutting me off and like always bumping into me and like all this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on here, bro? I don't understand it. They're on some next level something, dude. And I think that a lot of it's like awareness, because if people like walked around the grocery store like the way that they drove, nobody would ever get anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the thing is, they're hypnotized, bro. They're under hypnosis and they're demonically influenced and controlled. So they're just like, what's happened is there's been trauma. Like, you can think of like a dumb blonde girl, like, oh, the dumb blonde girl, right? Okay, bro, she's not the dumb blonde girl. What she is she's been molested by her dad when she was a child, and it has broken a part of her brain that she no longer has access to. And so then part of her mind is severed to block out that memory. She may not even remember it. And so that part of her brain, guess what? That part could also be a part of the brain that stores math, some component of how to do algebra or some component of how things function. And so she's like, I don't even know how to do math. I'm just a dumb blonde. Like, bro, you're not the dumb blonde. You have been molested. You have been traumatized, and part of you has been hurt. Okay. And so you need healing.
It doesn't even have to be like molestation or like anything like that. It could be any kind of traumatic event that happened in your childhood. It could be your one of your parents dying whenever you were younger. It could be a family member dying. It could be look how big of a traumatizing event 9/11 was. Like,
that was a mass trauma event. Absolutely.
There's worldly traumatizing events.
That's called mass hypnosis.
That will also do the exact same thing. That's
witchcraft.
Level.
Yep, that's witchcraft. That's mass hypnosis. That is trauma. And like, those things allow empty void spaces that allow demons to get access to the individual. So you become demonically possessed. In fact, there's trauma words all out through the culture today. I can tell you right now, there's trauma words. I'll show it to you. Very simple. Donald Trump is a rapist. That is a spell. That is a magic spell spoken. Now, what I just said was the word Donald Trump's name has become a spell, by the way, and the word rapist is actually a trigger. We call them trigger responses. Those are spells. Okay. So if I say Donald Trump is a rapist, anything after that spell is spoken will program into your subconscious mind, because I said that word, it's going to go into your mind and deep seat into your brain. I just spoke a magic spell. And then all of a sudden, you're now going to believe anything after that line. You could say, Donald Trump's a rapist, therefore we need to buy groceries at Sam's Club. Yeah, I mean, like, you could have said anything. Like, and it would actually evoke a spell that would affect people.
Well, everything we say is a spell. I mean, anything that you write down is a spell. That's where the word spelling comes from. It has spell in front of spelling. So, and everything that you do is a ritual too. Whenever you wake up in the morning, you're doing a ritual. Whenever you eat breakfast, you're doing a ritual. Whenever you eat lunch, you're doing a ritual. You go to work, you're doing a ritual. When you leave work, you punch out, you're also doing a ritual. Our entire lives is one giant ritual that we're creating with spells and the words and the things that we say. right? But I do agree with you. They have these people like on like a hook, line, and sinker with the types of headlines that they use and the way that they phrase things and the way
Mm-hmm.
they put out that
Mm-hmm.
people triggered into a certain belief system, and then it doesn't matter what you say after it because they've already gotten the front loaded thing. Like
Yep.
it could be whatever it is. It doesn't even
Yep.
have to
Mm-hmm.
revolve around Trump. It could be whatever. It's like that catchy 3 or 4 phrases that get people to like click on it or do whatever, and like like I mean that's the way that it's worked
Mm-hmm.
for a really long time. And then the entire article doesn't even have to be anything about what the headline was about. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've clicked on an article that has a headline
Mm-hmm.
and I expect to read the entire article and then it explain what the headline was, and it doesn't even do that. It's about something that doesn't even have to do with the headline of the article.
Yep. Yep. And the thing is, like, here's the interesting part is like, when there's so much more detail to that article thing, because those article written they're attempting to spellcast you, like you're saying. And there's so much more to that aspect of how that's working that it's boggling when people don't really realize the amount of witchcraft and the occult that's involved in the world. Okay,
I'll
because
give
it's
you a really good example of this one really quick.
yeah.
RFK Jr.
Mm-hmm.
around, I don't know, like a month ago or so, he had his Senate hearing committee to be head of the Human Health and Services Department, right? HHS. And during his hearing, he said something like along the lines that so nobody should be taking medical advice from me, which was in referral to something completely different. But what they did is that they just printed all the headlines saying that RFK Jr. said that no one should take medical advice from me, right? But then whenever you click on the article and then you read the entire statement and then they put it into context of actually what he was saying, it didn't have anything to do with the thing that they were trying to put like propagate and push out to everybody, because they don't care, right?
No.
They just want you to see the headline and hoping that nobody reads the entire article. But I automatically knew. I was like, there's no way that he said this in context to the way that they're pushing out there as.
Yeah, they take it completely out of context. That's crafting. That's witchcraft. That's what that is. That is witchcraft. You're literally witnessing witchcraft in action when they do that kind of stuff. But people are oblivious to it. I'll explain another thing about how spelling works, because like the English language is an occultic language. We are speaking this is called witch tongue. This is a witchcraft language. Okay, like English comes from English, which comes from Anglo-Saxon, which comes from angels of sexton. Angels of sex, actually, is what it originally was. And because sect means to have sex with, or dissect, it means to be a part of. That's where we get the word sex. So Anglo-Saxon literally stems from angel sex, which means Nephilim. It means hybrid offspring. Okay, English is angelish. It's an angelic language from the Nephilim, from the fallen angels. This is where English stems from. And old books of witchcraft all have English words in them. And like they will be written in French, but yet have English stuff in them. They'll be written in other languages, but it's because English is it's the fallen angelic language. And so like, that's why we call it spelling, and we call it grammar. Grammar comes from the root word grimoire. If you look up grimoire etymologically, it will tell you spells, mumbo jumbo, magic, incantations. Why is it spelling and grammar? Bro, you're speaking witch tongue. Other languages don't call it grammar or spelling. They call it like writing. Okay, that's why you wrote in cursive, cursive, because it's a cursing language. It is a witch language. Okay, and that's why it's called cursive. Okay, and when you look into these things, you start realizing like all of these terms. You know what automatic writing is? You heard of that?
Yeah, it's where you're channeling some kind of spirit, and then
channel, and you go like this, and you scribble. You know what you write in? Do you know what automatic writers write in? Cursive. Oh, isn't that fascinating? Yeah, because you channel out and you scribble, and you go and you like scribble letters on the page, and you scribble, but don't pick up the pen, and you write out words. That's called cursive language. It is a cursing language that you scribble and you try to read the letters of what you write. It's because demons influence you, but they influence you only so subtly. They don't have such a strength to like fully influence you until you're fully possessible. So, but on a micro scale, they can get you to write scribbles and kind of adjust the influx of your scribbles to write in cursive. That's literally how, like, that's where we get the term ghost writers. They're not ghosts, right? It's not like some person that's secretly writing for you. Bro, that person that's secretly writing for you is channeling spirits. They're channeling demons. They're doing automatic writing. Half the movies, more than half the movies you watch, more than half the books you've written in entertainment. They use their imagination, nation, people, imagination, magic, magician. This is where this comes from. Okay, like it's literally telling you this is magic. Movies are magic, bro. It is all witchcraft. Every movie you ever watched, every spell you ever, like, dude, it literally comes down to like this root understanding of the occult, bro. Why do you think what do they call the people on the shows that you watch? What do they call them? The cast. Oh, really? The cast? Because they are broadly casting a spell on everybody who watches. It is broadcast. This is witchcraft, bro. This is why they call it that. That's why it's called the channel or remote viewing or remote control. It's called the channel because you are channeling a message from the lying visions that they are telling you. This is where it all stems, bro. That's why it's called Hollywood, because Hollywood's the wood and witches and wizards would craft their wands and staves out of. It's crafted out of Hollywood. Hollywood, bro. You know what else? Bel Air is right next to Hollywood. Do you know Bel Air is the name of the devil? It's actually Beliar is where we get Bel Air, Bellwhore, Bellador, Beliar, Bel, Baal. This is another name of the prince and the power of the air. Okay, that's Satan. Bel Air is the prince, the fresh prince of Bel Air. No, the fresh prince of Bel Air is Satan. Bel Air is his name. Look up Bel Air and in Google. Go etymologically, type in Bel Air demon, type in Bel Air devil, and you can read about Bel Air, who happens to be the devil, Satan. And that's like right in Hollywood. Like, bro, they've got Satan's castles, right? Looks over Hollywood. There's so much occultic stuff. People don't even see it. They don't even get it. Spelling and witchcraft is integrated into everything you do, everything you watch, everything you're seeing. That's why the movie Nickelodeon, that is Latin. It means I don't care about God. Nickelodeon. Bro, study some books. Nickelodeon. That's what it means. They don't like Akuna Matata. Akuma is the devil. Okay, so Akuma is the devil. Akuna is evil. Akuna Matata in Japanese is many evil demons. That's kind of suspicious. Weird, right? Well, if you type in Akuna Matata in Swahili, they'll tell you, oh, it means no worries. But if you type Akuna Matata in Zulu, it will say there is no fathers. There is no father. Sorry, there is no father. And you're like, oh, that's really weird. Why say that? Oh, yeah, what happens in that movie? Oh, yeah, the father dies. And you're over there chanting Akuna Matata. Bro, that's a magic spell. That's a spell you're speaking. You don't even understand it. But this is how witchcraft works. This is how spelling works. This is how they do these kind of things. Spelling is so integrated into our culture. And you know, I'll explain it to you in a simple method, because people are like, oh, well, it's not pronounced that way, Bryan. Oh, it doesn't mean that thing. Bro, you don't even understand witchcraft. They don't care. Demons don't care how you pronounce it. You say it close enough, they'll show up. Chant it close enough. This is how spells work. You don't need exact spelling. That's why it's called spelling. It's meant to confuse you. They don't care about the etymological, they said it comes from this word. No, it doesn't. They don't care that it comes from that word. Of course they're going to tell you it comes from that word.
This is what I've been referring to as like word magic, right? They tell you something and it has multiple meanings to exactly what it is that they're telling you, because there's so many different languages it all means different. And that's what's so screwed up about the English language, is that we have so many words that all mean like the same exact thing, you know?
Yeah. They're called synonyms. Sin. Oh, isn't that funny? Sin. Oh, no, it means similar. Synonyms. They're telling you this is how we get you to sin. This is what we do. That's what they're called antonyms. That's not a good word, is it? Huh? Synonyms. Think about it. I mean, like, bro, it's like, it's woven into every part of your culture. You live in a witchcraft world. We all live in this witchcraft world, and we're deceived by it. And that's why we think it's like, oh, well, it's impossible to give up sinning. It's impossible to not give in to lust. Yeah, it is. It seems that way to you because your friggin' feed's all full of a bunch of naked chicks. Change your feed. Unlike those videos. Block it. Don't live in that world of witchcraft, bro, and maybe it won't affect you. If you keep seeing, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, demons move just through the image of acting and seeing something. That's why the tell-lie vision is casting demons and spells on you. Bro, they move just through the act of you observing it. This is how witchcraft works. Okay, and like when I was explaining, like, they want you to have trauma, and they want the trauma to be bad, and they want you to know that it's bad. This is why they show you things are bad, and you're like, oh, well, the movie's good because it shows that it was bad that they did that thing. No, that's stupid. That's not what it is. They want you to feel conviction when you do the bad thing and feel like you're a terrible person because it creates the trauma. It makes the void space, and the demon goes in and sits in there, and then he starts controlling your mind, controlling your thoughts, affecting you in little ways and pushing you in subtle ways to get you to do what he wants. The demon wants to control you. The occult wants to control you. The satanic world wants to control you. All of these people at the top, I don't even think they know that they're being controlled by demons, to be completely honest. Some of them maybe do, but I don't even think half of them understand it. They just think it's magic. No, it's demons. It's 100% demons. I talk with them. I've dealt with them. I know them. They freaking recognize me sometimes when I go places. It's hilarious. Dude, it's all demons. It's all demons controlling. It's all the satanic agenda. All magic is use of demons. It's control of demons. That's what it really is. They don't know that, though. They don't understand it fully. You ever say something?
There's definitely something going on with music as well, and frequency of music and the type of music that is being.
I don't listen to music.
And there's something evil going on within the music as well.
Oh yes, I don't even listen to it, bro. I don't listen to music because I know that there is so much demonic influence. When you come into agreement with a song, let's say the song's like, I hate my boyfriend, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you start singing that song, you have no freaking clue what you're doing. You are speaking words. It says in the Bible, the power to speak life and death is in the tongue, and those that master it eat the fruit thereof. It comes out your mouth, and you speak it, and you come into agreement, and you feel that feeling. It feels really good when you start singing that song, and you get it. Bro, you're evoking a demon. You don't even realize it. You're evoking a spell over your life. That's why I don't even listen to it. I'm not even going to bother. I don't even listen to Christian music. I think it's stupid. Just like, whatever. I don't even need to listen. And you know what? It took a minute. It took maybe 2 weeks. And for 2 weeks, I was like, oh man, this is weird not listening to music. And then it broke off me. And now I don't even care. It takes about 2 weeks to break any demonic hold that is over your life. You'll be like, oh, I can't watch porn. I need to get over it. 2 weeks. Try it for 2 weeks. 3 weeks. The third week, usually the demon will come back on the 7th day after 2 weeks. And all you got to do is resist it. And then boom, it'll leave you. The desire to watch porn will leave you. After 2 weeks, resist it for 2 weeks. Watch. And then if it comes back, say in the name of Jesus, desire, leave me now. Get off me. And you speak to the desire like it's a person, and you tell it to go, and it leaves you. And you're like, whoa, in the name of Jesus, it just left. That was crazy. And that desire will leave you. That demon will leave you. That's how the demons work. And so here's the thing. When it comes to magic and how it's influencing us, they want children to be molested. They want children to be hurt. They want children by their parents. It doesn't matter by who. They want destruction and negativity to happen because then you are a susceptible, spell programmable individual. Because let's say a girl gets molested. Right now, I'm going to say the word molestation. That is a magic spell word, by the way. Okay. And a ton of you think about the word rape, also a magic spell word. Okay. If I say the word rape, okay, right now, there's a bunch of guys, there's a bunch of girls that are like, oh, because it's they knew, oh, I know somebody that got raped, or they got raped, right? And so it's it evoked that emotion in you. That's a spell word, bro. And then they use that spell to put in things into your mind. Okay, so if I say something like, man, you don't want to be considered a rapist, you better listen to what I say. Bro, just saying that evokes an emotion, because then there's a ton of guys that are like, oh, I don't want to be considered a rapist. Yeah, I should listen to him. And they're just going to listen to whatever nonsense you talk. And the more that this destruction happens in our society, the more susceptible you are to spells and programming. It's called program, programmer, programmoire. Grimoire is grammar. Pro means for. Programmer, programmoire means for witchcraft. It means for witchcraft. They are programming you. That means that's why it's called the Grammys, bro. It's called the Grammys because it's witchcraft. That's the word, gram. Okay, and this is where it comes from in the roots. Okay, and but you really understand what witchcraft is? It's so obvious. And a lot of people will be like, wow, how have I not seen this? Right now, everybody's being spell broken right now, just by listening to me. You're being spell broken. Whoever's listening, it's breaking something off of your mind and your understanding. I am a spell breaker. This is what I do. And it's releasing things because the understanding's coming to you and you're like realizing, you know what it's called in witchcraft? You know what they call it? They call it spellbound. You ever heard the word spellbound? You can be under a spell or you can be spellbound. What's the difference? When you're under a spell, let's say you get turned into a frog. You're under a spell and you're like, I need to become a human again. I was turned into a frog. Okay, that's cool. But when you're spellbound, that means you got turned into a frog and you don't even remember you were a human. You think you're still a frog. That's 95 or more % of people. You think you're a frog. You think that that's just the way you are. No, fool, it's demons. You have demons affecting your life and you're not walking in righteousness. You're not living close to the conviction of your heart that Jesus told you to. You're denying the truth and you're living this mediocre life doing these things you know you're not supposed to do. And you think it's okay, bro. You think what the elites, and you're like, and there's even Christians that are like, oh, the elites are the worst. Bro, you're just as bad and you don't even see it. Like, you know what they do? They're like, oh, well, I'm not a bad person. I just smoke a little weed and I break a little law here and there. But I'm like, I'm not a bad person. At least I'm not doing bad things like those guys over there. You know what? The elites think the same exact thing. It's called duality that you believe in. That's magic. That's a magic spell that you believe in. You know what it is? Duality? It means just like you go, oh, well, I just break a little bit of the law, blah, 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 but I'm not that bad. You know what the magic spellcasters do? The elites, they go, oh, well, I gave $1 million to this charity, so it's okay if they rape a little children here and there. I gave $1 million to them. That's what they think. That's literally what they think. That's how they function. It's duality. It's the same satanic principle. It's that yin yang, bro. A little bit of light with a little bit of darkness in the middle, and a little bit of dark with a little bit of light in the middle. You believe in yin yang if you think that. But Jesus isn't that, bro. Jesus is all light. There is no darkness in the middle. He is all truth. He is all love. Okay, that stupid war over in freaking that country we're not going to talk about because I don't want to get you in trouble. That stupid thing is wicked. That's wickedness. That's evil, murderous, all of it. What they're doing to those people in that other country that I also don't want to say the name to get you blocked. That is completely wrong and against the Lord. They are not, none of that stuff over there is of God. That is not a country of God. That is a wicked nation lying with spells. Who do you think did 9/11? Look it up. That's a spell casting place, bro. You know the highest order of witchcraft? You know what it is? It's Judaism. Isn't that funny? Go talk to a Satanist, a high-level Satanist. They all answer to Judaism. Isn't that weird? But weird, isn't it? They believe in magic spells. You ever looked in the Kabbalah? Bro, it's all occultic. Anyways, sorry, I got a little ranty.
Very, very occultic. Yeah, I don't think people realize how occultic the Kabbalah really is and all the dark stuff that's in there, bro. It's insanity.
Oh, it's so evil. It's so evil. But yeah, that's I mean, people are naive to those spiritual realm and to the magic realm that affects our lives, but they're being totally like played by it, like left and right, dude. So many of the Christians, like, they're plagued by this too. They're like affected so negatively into like believing in this occult nation that's literally wrapped around like everything in our media, everything. And it's witchcraft. It's the highest order of witchcraft. All the Satanists, they use, what they call that little star of David? You know what that's called? The hexagram. Where do you think we get the word hex? To be hexed comes from that little demonic sigil, which is the sigil of Satan, by the way. That's what that little star is. But people don't know that. Maybe I've gone too much. I might have stepped too far into the occult. I don't know. Maybe I should step back.
Yeah, it's all really fascinating, bro. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, dude. Really appreciate it. Can you let people know where they can watch your movies? And I have your channel, your YouTube channel in the description already if people are interested. I wasn't able to see the chat over here, but I'm sure it was wild. I'm sure people were out of their mind over there in the chat. But I can't see it because I had made this live video for last week whenever you and Jerry come on, and I had it and I took it off of public and I made it private so it wasn't up there. But I made the YouTube one public, but I didn't change it on the actual StreamYard settings, so it was treating it like it's a private video, and I wasn't able to any of the comments that came up on YouTube. But I'm sure people are losing their minds. They're probably saying, "This guy, blah, 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 blah." So, like, listen, like, you got to listen to what everybody says. Like, I've never, like, if people want to come on here, like, they got an opportunity to say their piece and what they believe. Like, I've never once said, don't believe in Jesus. I've never once said, don't be a Christian. If it helps you and it works for you, as obviously as it's worked for Bryan here, I got nothing against it. Do it. If it works, it works, and that's the same with any religion. I 100% believe if Buddhism works for you, then do Buddhism, bro. If Hinduism works for you, then do Hinduism. I've never once told anybody not to be involved in any kind of religious institution or not be religious or be religious. Okay, so I think that it's important to hear people out. I think it's important to have these types of conversations. And I never talked with a exorcist before, and I wanted to bring him on to get his opinions on what he thinks is happening. But can you let people know where to find you online, where they can find your documentary, and where they can find your YouTube channel if they're interested in more of your work?
Absolutely. It's all Demon Erasers right there. Demon Erasers on YouTube, Demon Erasers on Instagram, Demon Erasers on TikTok. I'm pretty big on TikTok. I think I got like 200,000 followers, but I can't post as much on there because they keep they keep like banning my stuff every time I post on there. It's nuts. But
taken down on there, bro. They just took my entire thing down.
Dang, it sucks, bro. They like, dude, if you say anything on TikTok now, because it's completely controlled by Oracle, which is a Jewish run organization, I think it is now, and we're not gonna go into details about that, but the it's definitely ran by the occult, we'll say. And yeah, they can't post any of that stuff on there. But yeah, YouTube, and then ancientangels.com if you want to watch my documentary talking about the shadow people. And if you ever seen shadows or ghosts in your bedroom, I got a pretty good explanatory documentary that talks about that, and talks about the Nephilim and the origin of the Nephilim. We didn't even talk about Nephilim. Maybe I'll come back on. We'll talk about Nephilim stuff and how that works. But if anybody wants to learn some crazy stuff, go there. And yeah, it's Demon Erasers and Ancient Angels. That's pretty much it.
Thanks, brother. Really appreciate your time today, and we'll have to get you back on with Jerry. We'll make that one happen here whenever he has time. I think he wasn't able to make this one. He said like around August or something. So let's bring him on. So we'll get his perspective from a psychotherapist angle. I've had him on several times. I've had him on I think 4 times now. So thanks for coming on, brother. Really appreciate it. Thanks everyone in the chat, even though I couldn't see your comments. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to help the channel and the algorithm. Share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well for notifications, and we'll see you guys next time. Bryan, stay with me, brother.
All right.